Everyone should like what they like.
And if I played at S Club 7 Jam right now, you'd get up and dance for sure.
Oh mate, when we were going through
Club 7 song.
Never Had a Dream Come True. S Club Party.
I might not the danciest of songs there to start off with, Lucy.
Huh? What's that?
Not the danciest of songs to start off with there.
No, but that's their best tune.
Is it?
I'm true, yeah. It's like like every concert that you go to, they like leave the best till last and like try and trip people out. It's like, oh, I'm not going to sing my best tune, but I obviously am. It's not like anyone's going to walk up and leave at a concert. But
it's not. But the problem that's the problem with ballads, though, isn't it? Ballads are not really decent concert material. Unless there's absurd guitar solos and unless it's like a Meat Loaf or a Bon Jovi ballad.
Everyone was waiting and everyone was tense and nervous. It's like, are they going to sing Had a Dream Come True? And it's like, yes, they did at the end. And the funniest thing, it's like, because everyone's singing along. Right. And there's like one high note like at the end. And you just hear some like screech from like the crowd singing right at the end. Just trying to get that high note. It's like... Nothing better than that.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it's good times. Good times.
Good. I'm glad someone enjoys it.
You seem very dismissive of S Club 7. I'm not a fan of this. I'm not a fan of this at all.
Is this
it. This is where I quit Tanked Off. Yeah. It's like, this is where we finally disagree on something so much that I quit the show.
Oh no. I've done it now. Ruined it for everyone with my S Club 7
hatred. Just abhorrence for S Club 7. I'm not taking it.
Well, it's not just it's not S Club 7 necessarily. It's that.
Well, it did become S Club after Paul left, but
It's just all of it. It's all of that music. All of that.
No, it's
all of what music?
Fun.
Britpop, mate.
Pop music.
Oh, that's more than Britpop though.
It's because they were national. Did you not watch S Club Miami?
No, I didn't.
The TV show. Why not?
No, I don't remember that.
It was really good. They had S Club Miami. I think they had a film as well. S Club. What was the other one?
They didn't have a film.
They did. S Club Seeing Double, I think.
Jesus.
They had a TV show in Miami. They were big over in the States, just like the Spice Girls.
They were big. They weren't as big as the Spice Girls, but they're pretty.
Oh God, no! But they were still big. Yeah, like deservedly so. They made some hits.
Big in Canada, you've got fucking Celine Dion.
Yeah,
she's down in Vegas now. So
she was big at a different time.
And you had Avril Lavigne, so.
Oh yeah,
who's not dead apparently.
No.
Well, she still might be. Might just be a very, very well played
cover up.
Yes.
Double. Oh, I thought you meant Zombie.
She had some good tunes too.
Yeah.
I like any music type, like.
That's fair.
Yep.
Good.
But come on, Britney Spears. you gotta go.
She had her moments. Toxic.
Musically. Oh yeah, that's a great song.
Yeah, fuck.
And it has Tyson Beckford in the music video, which makes it 10 times better.
And that is the opener to this.
Welcome to Tanked Up, the podcast of video games, beer, music, life, Tyson Beckford, Appreciation Society, and more.
And Tony Braxton. He's in her music video as well. I haven't stalked him or anything.
He obviously got around a little bit in that kind of time frame.
Yeah.
So sort of did his best work then.
Absolutely.
Oh, good. So, let's drink some beers. Aadil, what are you drinking first?
Oh, shit. What am I drinking first? This one or this one?
I don't know.
This one.
Okay. I'm drinking a collaboration between Padstow and Dig.
Ooh.
And it is called Granny.
Yes. I
like how you put in a bit of flair to that.
Yeah, it is a slow cranberry and blueberry sour, 4.5%. Hops fade fast, drink fresh. Please store cold. Drink before June 2019.
Yeah, I remember seeing that in the bottle shop and being like, "Oh, that sounds interesting." And I think I saw the name. I was like, "Nope, no, I'm not picking up Granny, not today."
Meanwhile, I'm used to picking up Granny apparently.
Nice. Lucy, what are you drinking first?
Today I'm going to start with. I've got 2 dark beers. I'm going to start with the Cosmonaut from Gipsy Hill. It's a 4.4% stout. On the back it says Cosmonaut is a stout. Oh, shit. It's dark with chocolate, black, and roasted barley malts. A thick, pure white head, roasty, dry, and sessionable. Comfort beer. Goes well with small steps and dark matter. Drink it and talk to people.
Hey!
Right.
Don't all the Gipsy Hill cans say drink it and talk to people, don't they?
Okay.
I think so, yeah.
That's good.
I think we've had this moment before.
Probably. It's been many a beer since, but the yeast is US 05, malts Marisotto, chocolate malt, black malt, flaked barley, roasted barley, aroma hops of Pilgrim, First Gold, and Tentnang, 4.4%, and no bittering hops.
Oh,
None.
okay.
No,
Nice.
NA, so possibly a bit sweet.
Ooh, I am going to start off. I got 2 bigger beers this week. I didn't realise that I got a stout, and I didn't realise it was quite as big on the ABV as it was. I was going to start with that because the other one's a double IPA, but looking at it, I thought it said 6.3% on the stout, but it doesn't. It says 8.3%, so it's still higher. So actually, it is higher than the double IPA. So I'm going to start with the double IPA. There's a big explanation about why I'm starting with a double IPA.
Well,
So I'm going to.
Good reason to.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to start with Crowd Surfer from Signature Brew. 8%. It's a West Coast double IPA. OG 1072. IBUs 55. There is no sort of flavour text. It just says it's got malted barley, malted oats, invert sugar, hops, yeast, water. Store upright, pour gently. Respect yourself. This beer, other people. Cool. It does have the hops right down the bottom. Columbus Cryo, Citrus, Chinook, BBC, and Simcoe Cryo. Right.
Cool.
I haven't had a beer from Signature for a while.
I'm not sure if I've ever had a beer from them.
Yeah, it rings a vague bell, but I can't like conjure up anything.
What did I have? It was a while ago. I think it was in like one of the first few episodes. One I don't know whether you were on, Aadil, that we had with Alex.
One of the first few episodes.
Yes, yeah, one of the first few episodes. And I'm not sure either of us really enjoyed what we had. But I haven't seen them for absolutely ages. So this is the first time I've seen a can in the bottle shop for a while. So I thought I'd pick it up. There we go. So back to you, Aadil. Have you had a chance to have a smell, have a taste?
I know my camera lighting isn't the best, but this is a red beer.
It's like pulp.
Yeah, it does, and there's like no head, there's no bubbles to be seen. It smells like a little bit of sweetness and a lot of raspberries. I'm assuming that's what the blueberries are giving some of that sweetness. But it's a sour. It smells like a sour, and so I think the raspberries coming through more.
Okay.
Ooh, that's refreshing as fuck. Oh, also
Nice.
tart right afterwards. Okay. Yeah, it sort of the tartness doesn't kick in until the middle, as I'm sure you could figure out. But what's really so I don't what is do you know what slow is? SLO.
I hear it in like ginger, like slow. Not ginger. Gin. Sorry,
Gin.
Slow
gin. Yeah.
Yeah. I've
I think
heard the
it's just
term.
it's just a certain way. I don't know. Is it a certain way of
Is it the
distilling
way-
it, or is it a certain kind of thing?
I
Certain
don't know
berry?
if it's the way they.
We could Google it.
We
I'm
could.
about to.
Is
You
it
do
the
that,
way they
Aadil.
serve it, like,
So what I was gonna say is the blueberry. You only really notice after the tart is like a spike. So, I mean, it really spiked and surprised me. Second sip, I think now that it's in my mouth, it's less like, oh, fuck. But it's still spike. And then afterwards, with the finish is a really nice light blueberry.
Nice.
It's a really nice sort of back and forth of the taste. It's sort of, because blueberries are, a little sweet, not too sweet. And they've got that distinctive flavor, and that's exactly what the finish is. And I still have a taste, like a minute later of a slight taste of blueberry still.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So the tartness doesn't distract from that, like, blueberry. Because when you went, I was like, is that going to be the overall flavor? But
so no,
so balance itself out before the blueberry.
Yeah. So sloe is a type of berry, otherwise known as blackthorn, and it's known to be super tart. So I'm guessing sloe gin is instead of just juniper berries, you're using blackthorn, probably because you can get it in your neighborhood. Yeah, it's supposed to have a sharp, sour taste, and that's probably the sloe then that really like hit me in the face, and then so the raspberry in the beginning, where I was like, oh, that's really nice, and then it was like, oh fuck. So I actually think it's probably not raspberry, cranberry. I can read, but I think
we obviously remember.
Yeah, yeah. So I think it's definitely. I think the blueberry is probably there the whole time, but it's just when the sort of sharp sour fades that you start to notice it. Okay. But it leaves you refreshed rather than sort of sour spiked. I think
that's good.
Sort of light sweetness of the blueberry really helps to give it sort of a nice long finish, and so I'm not reaching for it. I'm not feeling dried out. It's really
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pick that up. Dig Brew Co. seem to be doing better in their canning than sometimes at their tap room. So the quality seems like they've stepped it up a bit. So yeah, might check that out.
Excellent. Speaking of which, checking things out by Lucy. I mean, what are you having? That was one of the weirdest and worstly timed segues. Not timed, spoken segues.
I have worse ones. I have worse ones. But yeah, the Cosmonaut. The funny thing is, when I read on the back, it says a thick, pure white head, and it's like, this is a stout. Do you not mean like brown or like at least off-white? Because it's gone now, but it did pour a very nice, thick looking, like off-white brownish like head. It looked really nice. You can just pour a little bit more. It's very nice. Sticks to the glass well. It doesn't have like any bitterness. It did say that there was no bittering hops, and it doesn't really have that like coffee bitterness either. So you are just getting a very light, slightly sweet kind of thinnish, not in a bad way, but thinnish stout. It is only like 4.4%. It's not quite got like the creaminess or texture of like a milk stout, which tend to be like low alcohol as well. But I think it's just me as a person. Like when I think stout, I probably just want a big old imperial stout. Like like even earlier today, I had one of my favourite stouts from the last few years, the Heavy Water from Magic Rock, which is like 10%, and it's like really thick, creamy, and it's very nice and rich. I had a stout earlier on as well today, which was like 4.7%. It was like a caramel salted stout, but it's like they have all the flavour, tenants there, and it's just I want something like thick and heavy and juicy and creamy. It's like I never feel like I have a perfect occasion where I'd want to drink a lighter stout. I'd rather just get like an IPA or a saison or God knows what else. I had one earlier today, 4.7%, and it's because I was driving. It's like, okay, I'm going to have a third of this. It's very light alcohol. Never had it before. Let's try it out. But I'd always just rather have like a IPA, because I only chose a stout today because it's like that was the only other light beer on. There was like a 9% stout from Vocation, which was like, I'd love that, but I'm driving, so
probably not the best idea.
So I don't know. It's probably just me as a person where it's like I just want that kind of style. It's
I'm the same way. I really like a boisterous stout, and like you can have all those tasting notes, but they like without the oomph. I feel like it's not doing what I want.
It always feels lacking. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
even though it's a very nice and very easy drinking beer, I'll probably knock it back in like 3 seconds. But
I think
it feels a bit thin and watery. And like,
and I think it has to do with So I was going to say the texture and the sort of types of taste, the sort of biscuitiness, sort of thicker, richer taste. You want the texture to match, and then you also want it to like linger and be there because the notes are like toffee and coffee and these like really strong flavors that when you taste in other ways they sit and linger, or like shortbread or something like that where it's just rich, right? And it's the set of rich flavors that when you have this like cognitive dissonance almost when you're like, I'm used to these flavors being big and filling and rich, and so when they're light, you're like, I get that, like I'm still tasting these things, and it might not a bad taste, but the richness isn't there, and I think that's, at least for me, why I find it sort of, especially when it's thin in texture, really like not working for me.
Absolutely, and it's like you can make a thick, creamy, dense stout even at like 6-7%. Many breweries do that, and like conversely, like I had Tiny Rebel's 0.5% stout, which was basically just like a coffee shot, which is like you are still getting like those aromas and flavors, but you're just not getting the texture, and that's like no different to like a 4.4% beer. It's like the alcohol content just doesn't seem to matter with stouts with me. It's all about that, that texture.
The texture,
yeah, absolutely.
That's fair. I think we were spoilt when we went to Bristol Craft Beer Festival last year. There was so many double-digit stouts there, and we went in thinking, let's leave those for a bit. I think it was like the third or fourth beer we had was like an 11% stout. It was just and that kind of spoils you a little bit. You're like, right, this is all I want forever now. I just want big, thick, creamy stouts. Thanks.
It was the same at the Taps Beer Festival that went in Birmingham. There were just so many stouts. It's like, we're just like an IPA, but this Demolan collaboration that's like 11%. Let's have 4 of those instead.
Nice. It's a strange one because my beer from Signature is kind of similar in its thinness. There's like it's really light in colour. It's got a little bit of opacity to it, not much, but there's a little bit to it. Slight orangeness, almost no head on that whatsoever. And what kind of poured has maybe, I don't know, maybe 10 mil disappeared really, really quickly. And when you taste it, or at least in the nose, you're getting those tropical flavours. It smells very light. And when you taste it, you're kind of first hit by actually how thin it is, rather than kind of the flavour. You kind of know what's coming from the nose and what you're going to get from sort of the flavour. And there's maybe a little bit of mango in there, maybe some stone fruit in there as well, maybe a little bit of apricot or something, just kind of in there with that kind of that sweetness, just pulling it down a little bit. And I can see maybe they've tried to thicken it a little bit. I think it did say on the back it had oats in there. Malted oats. It does feel like there's that slight creamy quality to it, but that it's just not quite big enough. It's not quite there. You can see that it's trying to get there. I have no idea whether my perception of Signature Brew beers is tainted from kind of like the couple that I'd had a long time ago, but there is just this slight sweetness to it which just makes it feel a little bit like tinny.
Artificial sweetness? Or
it's not like artificial. As soon as I tasted this, I remembered my old criticism, which was that the beers tasted a little bit too metallic-y.
Right.
They had that kind of slightly tinny metallic quality to them, and they were bottled back then as well when I drank it. This has that same kind of quality to it. There's that slight sweetness in there, which is maybe just a little bit metallic to it. I do not know what it is, whether it's their brewing process, whether it's something that they're putting in it. They have said in here they've got, it could be the yeast that they use. They've got invert sugar in this. I don't know what invert sugar is. Whether that's got a slightly different sweetness to it than another kind of sugar that other people may use or something, which is giving it this flavour profile. But there is definitely something there that kind of, as soon as I tasted this, I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of not the same, but it's similar to what I've experienced from Signature before. And
oh yeah, it's like, like when you become familiar with a brewery, like for good or bad reasons, yeah, they do, carry over the same characteristics in their beer. Like I can probably taste a Cloudwater beer like straight away, a day of beer, just from like Cloudwater, their house yeast, and just day of their kind of style. So works in good and bad ways.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's got this light bitterness to it as well, which kind of kicks in, kind of as this sweetness and this metallic taste is coming in, this bitterness appears as well, which is kind of pulling away from that slightly, but it's a bit of a... It's not like a hodgepodge of taste. I think it kind of is working. It's just working in a very kind of odd way, and it's making me kind of work for kind of what I want from it. Really, it's sort of like you can see
making you go and try and find flavors.
It is. It's making me try and find the flavour completely, and you know that kind of the tropical fruits that are coming off of the nose are there quite quickly. Those stone fruits then kick in with that bitterness, and then that kind of that metallic kind of taste is just there. It's just there. I don't know what it's doing, but it's just there, kind of hovering around in the background.
That's fair. Is there like not any strength to it? Like, how's the alcohol like?
I mean, again, that could be part of that slight sweetness, that slight sort of metallic-y kind of tinge, whether that is the 8% just kind of kicking in with the mix that they've got going on. It doesn't have that, really high alcohol kind of sweetness to it that even you get with 8-9% sort of IPAs and things, when you know that the alcohol is just peeking through. It's not quite the same as that. So obviously the combination of ingredients that they have just pulls away very slightly from that, and maybe just showcases the alcohol in a very slightly, just in a different way perhaps, than that kind of that instant like, oh, there's the alcohol sweetness. It's just doing something different. But saying all of that, it's making me work. It's a slightly odd flavour profile. It's got some things going on. I'm actually enjoying it.
Okay.
That's
what matters the most.
Completely, and it's going down very, very easy. And I think that lack of alcohol sweetness just kind of allows that, and that the light bitterness to it as well kind of allows it. I'm not being hit by either a big alcohol flavour or a huge kind of bitterness rolling in sort of towards the end of the flavour. It makes it very easy to pick up and drink, and it's a little dry, so I'm going back to it sort of semi-regularly.
Yeah.
So we shall see. I mean, I've already drank at least half a can, I would think.
Yeah, like my beer, it's like had middling reviews of it, but it's going down very nicely. It's always a good sign.
Exactly. It is the first beer I've had since we recorded last.
Oh,
that might be. I know.
He's been on the wagon. What's going on?
I know. Well, Kim stopped drinking. She wants to stop drinking for a little bit, for a month.
Oh, that's good.
She has these occasional months where she goes, I'm just going to stop drinking for a month. So
what was it? I'm trying to think about. Was it a bad night for her? Well, not bad night, bad morning for her. Yeah.
No. She decided she wanted to get her birthday out of the way.
Yeah.
And then just be a little bit more health conscious.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she's going to the gym and
Meanwhile, I went to the pub after the postgrad whip on Monday, as I normally do, and then we went out dancing until late morning.
That's exercise.
That's true.
Exercise.
Yep.
Yeah. I went to gym on Tuesday and stayed in bed all day Wednesday. So there you go. Got to balance them all day.
Lucy,
Yes.
Did you get to play any games whilst you were in bed on Wednesday? I'm going to kick to you first for your segment this week.
Yeah, my segment is games. We didn't quite get to talk about the occupation last week.
Right.
So I'll go into more depth this week. I played it maybe a week and a half ago. White Paper Games were kind enough to send me a code for it on PS4. Yeah, ever since I saw it, it's like the premise looked really cool. You're like an investigative. Yeah, that word.
Investigative.
Say it quickly.
No, I've tried saying it slowly and it doesn't work. So you're a journalist trying to find things. It's set in the 80s, 80s Britain, and I was going to like kind of segue from my talk last week about the Westport Independent, because that is a very politically driven narrative game, which seemed quite prescient given that came out early 2016, and this game, The Occupation, it's been made under the dark cloud that is today's political landscape. And the Westport Independent was rather talking about like censorship and how the government wants to censor media and stuff like that, which seems like wherever, but for us very like West centric people, that was a very like American thing in the Trump era, whereas this is very like under the landscape of Brexit. This is basically the whole grand scheme of it is there's been a terrorist attack on a company which is it's a bit hard, I don't want to spoil it, but they basically have some new technologies coming out in the 80s, which if
CD players,
yes, everyone hates CD players. Yes, Sony, Philips, nobody likes them. It's basically there's a new technology which kind of muddies the grounds with like personal data and GDPR and what it is now today and stuff like that. So it's kind of hard not to spoil it, but those are the themes. It comes out through these are the themes. And there's also the talk of like immigration, because the person who committed the attack was he a French national or something like that? He's basically an immigrant.
So they've dove in with sort of like both feet.
Yeah. It's like, okay, we're going to take a bit here, we're going to take a bit there from like the political climate as it is. It's basically, what if Brexit happened in the 80s, which, depending on things, anything could have happened. But so, like, it's very intriguing, the story, the narrative, what they're trying to do, and you play as a silent protagonist. I'm not really a fan of the silent protagonist, but it works better in a like first person game, like what I've seen from like the Division. It's like third person game, you're a silent protagonist, and it's just weird as hell. And it's just like, come on, but it's like, in this game you're kind of embodying that character. It kind of works. But what really got me interested in this game was like not even the story, or even the like graphics and the art style, because it is like first person kind of Bioshocky kind of 80s, but in like a kind of futuristic tinge to it. So that looked really interesting, but it was like the gameplay mechanic, which is every minute in real life, in real time, is a minute in the game. And you were basically put into the building where this terrorist attack happened. You want to try and either exonerate or like find more information on this, so-called attacker, to see if he actually did it or what his motives, if there was anyone else behind it, if there's a cover-up, what this company's doing. And so basically you have these meetings with some of the staff in there to question them. It's like, what do you know about the attack? What do you know about the perp and stuff like this? And this is where unfortunately the game breaks down for me. Yeah, it's so disappointing. Like, this is one of the most disappointing games for me, because it's like I saw the premise, I saw the potential, but it just falls down in like how beholden it is to that mechanic where it's like every minute is
I see.
real time.
I was gonna say, because that's gotta be really tough.
Yeah, and I'm not a game designer, but I think it might have been easier if it was just like, instead of just an hour until your next meeting where you get all this information, make it 2 hours, you know? And I'm sure everyone on Steam is like, oh, this game's too short for, it's like £20 for 5 hours. What, you know, it's like, I hate people like that. It's like, do not associate time and value. It's like, these developers worked very hard for several years on this game. Who are you to say that £20 doesn't equal 5 hours? And £20 is cheap for a video. I won't go on that tangent. Anyway, it's like...
My topic's all about value and time.
Yeah. Oh my god. But the gameplay is like, okay, I'm coming to find all these... You basically have leads. You have this like journal, and it's like, okay, I want to ask these people about this and that and the other thing. Just background information you have in the journalist. It's very like thin leads, and there's always like this woman talking to you from the newspaper, and you know, pick up phone calls from like a payphone because it's the 80s and it's pretty cool.
Pretty great.
Yeah, it's really cool. And it's like, okay, we have this lead, we have that lead, new information has surfaced. Can you find anything more about this and that? And you're going around this like multi-storied office. You know, it's got stealth mechanics, which are just like, I don't really like first-person stealth.
I fucking hate it.
Yeah, I really don't like it. But the stealth is very... It's not like you can get killed. It's not like Dishonored or anything like that. It's actually quite weird because the only guy who's like chasing you around is like a really nice, polite guard of typical British fashion, so you don't really feel like threatened by him.
Brilliant,
So it's
right.
like, if I get seen, you know, he's a nice dude, it's
Like,
fine.
excuse me, you're not meant to be here. Could you
Yeah,
leave,
it's like,
please?
yeah. Basically, that's what it is. So you never feel threatened by it, but it's, you know, like the music like comes in, it's like, you know, this really, you know, tension and, you know, clandestine kind of music coming in, but you're basically looking around this office, really well detailed, really well, you know, rendered. It's the spaces are, you know, look like the 80s. It's sort of got like an alien kind of like vibe to it, like 70s but futuristic kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
But everything that you're doing, it feels kind of slow paced, which is good because it wants you to absorb everything, but you always have that ticking time clock. It's like, I only have an hour to my next meeting. And that coupled with, like, it feels a bit slow trudging around, the traversal, like going into vents and stuff like that. It feels a bit finicky, and just like even like going onto computers, like even on like the PlayStation, it uses like a very small mouse cursor, and it's like,
really?
You know, fiddling about and stuff like that. And just like listening to like audio files, it's like, okay, I'm gonna have to listen to all of this,
and I only have
so much time.
Fucking, yeah,
which give a lot of exposition, a lot of interesting things, but it's like, I'm under the clock here. And then you have, you know, things like, you know, listen to audio files, and you have like this briefcase with you, but you can only pick up like one physical item at a time. If you, like, and
you have to leave your briefcase in a bunch of places.
Well, you can carry the briefcase, but it's like, if I want to pick up a floppy disk, I can carry that, but I can't pick up, you know, anything other than like a sheet of paper as well as the floppy disk, even though I have this briefcase. It's like, just let me put it in my briefcase and take it with me.
Yeah.
But it's like, there's only like one infantry slot for like anything other than paper. Yeah.
Your briefcase is just full.
Yeah.
Of old newspapers.
Paper, but it can't carry like a floppy disk and a
no pockets
book at the same time. Yeah, so that goes against it. And also you have the fact that it's like, you have, especially on the first level, had like 8 leads going at once, and it was just like information overload. It's like, which one should I do? And this is like the first level of the game. It doesn't really, there's like a really short tutorial before this, just like, but it doesn't really integrate the player into like, okay, you're going to be absolutely bombarded now.
Yeah.
And you don't have a map of the landscape, so it's like, it's definitely a space you could like get used to. It's like floor 1, floor 2, basement, you know, and stuff like that. But you don't have a map, and you only have an hour to get familiar with the surroundings. Yeah, you don't have the time. And it's like, it's such a shame, because it's like, oh, I want to follow that lead. That sounds really interesting. What was that employee up to? Why do they know this? Why do they know that? But it's like, okay, which lead should I go down? Because it's about 8 leads now. I've got to a certain point where it's like, okay, I'm at this lead. I've got into this room. And then they give you more information, and it like branches off into this lead, that lead. And this.
I think that's it. As you were saying, it's kind of the problem with like a real-time kind of experience, because, you know, you look at something like Tacoma, and, you know, you were kind of investigating things, but you had that ability to scrub back and forth through
the
like
data
holographic
files
CCTV data, and kind of go and search different things and move into a different room and follow other people, and then just rewind it and follow someone else. Like, Tacoma was paced in a very nice, not slow, but it
allowed you to investigate, which is what you're
control. It allowed you that agency to be able to kind of, you know, take it at your own pace, whereas this kind of takes that away from you. It seems like it takes you away a little bit. And like, oh shit, I've just got to go. I should go and do this now. Like, but I've got to be over here somewhere else. Yeah. Is this the first game from this studio?
No, they made F for 1 or E for 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which was on PlayStation, and it also has the same kind of vibe. Yeah, that was like more sci-fi based, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to play much of that game just because of my motion sickness. This game that you can turn off head bob and motion blur, which is fantastic.
That's good.
So I didn't have any issues.
Good. Accessibility is very good, but I didn't get on with Ether 1. I think I played Unfinished Swan not that long before it.
Yeah,
and it had a similar kind of vibe to it, but
it was all about going into people's. Yeah, I didn't really either, so I wasn't too upset about leaving it behind because of my motion sickness problems. But yeah, you go into different people's psyches and everything. It's like it also had a very interesting premise, but I didn't get on with that.
I was gonna say, are these kind of things that they could tease out for, you know, with a little bit of refinement, maybe a little bit more time, that they could kind of like tease out for another game? But
they're almost there.
Knowing that maybe Ether 1 had kind of preceded this, you know, maybe the next game might be.
Absolutely, I have a lot of faith that they will get it right with the next game, because this game, you know, the Occupation has a lot of things going for it. It's like not only the accessibility settings that I was on about, but it has brilliant voice cast, amazing voice acting.
Nice.
It's got an amazing aesthetic, amazing style, great story. Unfortunately, which is even more upsetting for me, that there's different endings, but because I had so many challenges with the gameplay and not being able to find those leads and ask those questions in the interviews, because it felt very much bombardment on my senses, everything. I wasn't able to get like the most of the story, and there are some really weird plot holes which I won't spoil, but it was like, okay, this is where this game's really fallen down for me in terms of marrying the narrative to its mechanics. I just think there's just such a dissonance between those two things, the story and
sounds like
gameplay.
A really weird tension, because like if you're on the clock because you were like a detective and something was there, it makes sense to like shit. Like it seems like trying to paint the picture of like investigations inherently have like big choices and you can't follow up all the leads, but like investigative journalism is often done over months, precisely because the journalist Your job is to track down all the information to paint a wide picture.
Yeah.
Versus get to the bottom of some limited set of things, which is more like a detective, because it doesn't matter what everyone's motivation. Like as soon as you find out person A isn't involved, I don't care about their motivation.
I mean, thematically, it makes sense. Yeah, thematically it makes sense because it's like this building was, this is where the terrorist attack happened. And it's like half of the building's closed, and people are obviously on high tension. It's also before a massive legislative act, which is basically Brexit in even worse painting, where it's like we're going to get rid of all the immigrants kind of thing, and it's like they don't pull any punches with this game, which is good.
Well, I mean, that's good. That is good.
It's like it's spot on, but it's like that's what Brexit was based on, like for a lot of people. But it's like so it's like you only have so much time in this building. You're like you're the only person there. Just you want to find out more, and it's like okay, we've got maybe an exclusive deal with your paper. You're the only person who can come here. So he's like, yeah, okay, fair enough. But so thematically it works. But as you say.
Thematically it works because they wrote the narrative in that way, but I'm just saying the actual theme of journalism doesn't work in this type of circumstances 99% of the time. So
yeah, true.
But just in my mind, I've just thought kind of like how could you do that better? And it's maybe not like the idea of doing it over months and things. If you want that kind of very tense, limited time, rather than actually doing it in real time, why not do it in you could do 5 actions until the scene kind of cuts and then moves on to the next set of things that can happen, and maybe there's 8 different things you can explore, but you've only got time to do 5 of them. You don't then feel maybe rushed. You may not feel then as bombarded with information.
You can take your time making the choice, right?
Yeah, exactly, and it can allow it to be paced just that little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely.
My idea was just double the time between things.
Yeah, mine was too, but as you say, I'm not a game designer. Ben's idea seems much better, but it's like that real-time mechanic, that seems so cool, and I can see them doing something like that in the future with better execution. But as you say, probably my last point, Ben, is like when you brought up Tacoma, absolutely, because that was the game I was thinking about when I was playing this. Sort of kind of aesthetic, you can pick up like random objects, turn them around, view them and stuff like that. So, but the thing with Tacoma is that, like, yes, you were given all this time to investigate these holograms and these data caches, but when the sense of urgency came upon in like Tacoma, you felt it, but you at the same time you never felt rushed. At the same time, I think that's genius game design. It's like obviously because these people made Gone Home, which I always say is like one of the best games ever made. So it's like even in like Gone Home, like the sense of urgency. It's like okay, cool. Or Return of the Obra Dinn. It's a similar kind of thing. Yeah. You're an investigator, but the clock's not ticking, and it's like. Well, there is an actual clock in that game, isn't there?
There is.
And not even that close.
I made that mistake first time. It's like, there's a storm coming. Should we leave? I'm like, oh shit, yeah, all right. I'm like, oh, bum. Shouldn't have left.
Yeah. So yeah, there are ways to do it, and I think they were onto something this this game, but so much unfulfilled potential, and that's what just gets me down. But just aesthetically. Great. I know people had their game experiences marred by bugs. Didn't really encounter any of those, so that's easy with a patch. So maybe check it out one day. If it comes to Game Pass or something like that, absolutely.
PS Plus game or something like that. I was going to say it'd be interesting to see what these guys do maybe next. Now, knowing this about the occupation, obviously having played Ether 1 previously, but Ether 1 must be 3-4 years ago?
Probably 4, I guess.
So we may be waiting a little while, possibly. Perhaps, for something else.
Especially if the sales don't go so well.
Exactly,
And I think what the most damning thing will be is the bugs for more than anything else, because it's got a really cool style, and I think people could actually, take a lot away from the gameplay. I mean, I've seen some positive reviews out there who... felt a bit more happy about the way gameplay married with the narrative. But yeah, I think the bugs were the might have been this game's downfall. But I hope they bring it back up because
I think
it's really special in what it tries to do.
Nice. I think my final kind of thing I will interject is, not every game is for everyone. So for some mechanics are going to work for people rather than others. Mm-hmm. But things like bugs, I guess for a lot of people, bugs just comes down to time, doesn't it? Perhaps they said, we've got this amount of money, and once it runs out, we've got to ship it.
Yeah, and they did delay it from last October. So
really, okay. So 6 months roughly to get it out. Like.
Yeah, they might bring it to Switch as well, but bugs are just you just never know because it's I encountered one, and that was it. Some people have encountered game breaking ones. It's I never encountered anything
and that's even with a ton of time and an unlimited, well, not an unlimited budget, but a huge budget and a large amount of people. Games like Anthem are absolutely riddled with bugs. It's something that is always going to happen. You cannot playtest a game for every single eventuality. So
I think this could have done.
Yeah, sure. Yes. Some do come down to design problems. Things come down to issues.
Sides,
yeah.
But like the Anthem ones, which
I'd say that's more design than bugs in Anthem. Yeah. But I think this is for me more design kind of negative, but
problem.
You always say, this game could have done with 8 more months than the other and stuff like that, but it's people are just not afforded that luxury. I hope it's one we look back on and just say, that was a really cool promise for what the future was, like the Wii U. Like the Wii U. Just this didn't go so well, but
this iteration wasn't great, but look at our next thing.
Yeah. Best of luck to them.
Nice. Good. I was going to say, have you played anything else, or should we move on to another segment?
On to somebody else, and I'll come back to.
I'm actually ready for another beer.
I am as well.
Go for it.
Okay.
I've been yakking a lot, so I'll just
sip away.
Down this. Yep.
Well, don't do that. We'll start with Aadil again.
It's only a little bit much, and it's I'm happy to do it anyway.
I am drinking the Island Hopper from the Steam Machine Brewing Company.
Ooh.
That's pretty.
Steam Machine is from Durham. I wasn't familiar with them. 7.4%. It is a double dry hopped IPA with Vic Secret and Citra. Bold flavor new wave craft beers, engineered in the heart of industrial northeast England.
Nice.
Having lived on a small island for a number of years, our two founders still love to travel between faraway and far-flung micro-communities. How better to soak up the local climate than sitting on a pebble shore and watching the waves come and go with beer in hand. This is a big IPA to remind us of both our roots and past adventures. Generously dry hopped twice with Austrian Vic Secret and US Citra.
Austrian,
yeah.
Mm. I had
vegetarian friendly.
That's good. That's good for you.
Yeah. Most craft beers.
Yeah. True. I had a double dry hop today. It was from 5 Points and Lost and Grounded.
Oh yeah.
I think it's just called double dry hopped IPA. I think. But yeah, it was really good. Really, really good.
Nice. That Citra's hitting me on the pour in my nose.
It's that double dry hopping.
Yeah, it is. It is. Lucy,
what do you got?
Are you ready, or shall I open mine?
You open yours, Ben.
Okay. Just so people are aware, if you've looked for us on Instagram in the last few days, we haven't been there because our account was deactivated because supposedly we'd broken some community guidelines. However, I've literally just got an email telling me, sorry for the inconvenience, we've reactivated your account. You didn't do anything wrong. So we're back.
It was all those strippers following you.
Yeah, do you think that someone reported us and it's an auto algorithm fail? Because I can't imagine that they trolled our pictures and something said.
Well, I don't see. I'm not sure whether I liked a couple of things. Someone started following. A few people liked our things. Like,
I've seen it upsurge in my Instagram. And apologies, Mr. Callamore, good old listener. Took me probably about 2 years to follow him back and accept his request. But algorithms are weird. Yeah.
Right. I am going to drink a beer from Left-Handed Giant and Burnt Mill Brewery. This is After the Storm, an American oatmeal stout, 8.3%. The hops are Columbus, Mosaic, and Simcoe. The malts are Maris Otter, Oats, and Carafa 3.
Not the third.
Is the malt just chocolate,
chocolate,
crystal, and roasted barley? The yeast is US-05. That's it. Oh, the flavour text.
Nice. Yeah, I think I saw that in the beer shop as well. The thing about you see, I should really get this out of my mind because LHG, it's like they make some of the nicest beers around. I'm just like, oh my god, it's like £5.39 a can. But it's like I'd pay that for any other beer. It's like, and you're always going to get a beer from them. So
completely. I mean, this one I think Left-Handed Giant had a few new beers in when I went to the bottle shop last, and I wasn't going to pick one up, but I took Aadil, you were with us, but we took I had Evelyn, so I had to take her in with me, and this was the one that she picked because she liked the guys with swords.
She has good taste.
Yes.
I forgot that she did that.
That's it.
I remember that she wanted you to get a blue one.
That's true. We did get a blue. I think I'd already picked a blue one, so I said, "Let's pick whatever you like. I've already got a blue one."
Oh, it was that Barcelona Weisse beer that we didn't realize was going to be a sour Weisse beer because it had raspberries in it, and we just missed reading that in the can. Apparently, I don't know how to read the word raspberry on can. Can't see it on the cans it's on, see it on the cans it isn't.
Just overlook it every time.
Yeah. Can I hire Evelyn and just be like, can you? She can be my personal beer shopper. Point out which one's good. Oh. She's got
to come down and get her.
Sense.
I think she's a bit too young to send on her own.
Send her on the train. She'll be fine. Yeah. I'll pay for her travel. It's fine.
Nice. So I'm going to drink this. I think it's the first beer I've had from it's from Left-Handed Giant, but collaboration with Burnt Mill. First beer I think I've had from Burnt Mill, although they have been kind of one of the breweries of the month. As such, I keep seeing them kind of like, people drinking their beers quite a lot in the last sort of few weeks and things. So I don't think they're a new brewery. They've obviously just pushed maybe a little bit more. Got their stuff out to a few more places. So it'd be interesting to see whether this is just kind of, Left-Handed Giant, see what maybe Burnt Mill kind of bring to this.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few of their beers, like different styles recently. I'm going back to one of our old favourites. It's a Northern Monk Patrons Project Beers. It's a 16. You really can't. It's a 16.01. It's called
percent.
No. It's just their
the name.
Joking. Yeah, the name. 16.01. I don't know the numbering conventions. I don't know.
No.
But let's say this is their 16th series and their first of it. But this is called Haze, I believe.
Okay.
It's always hard to find the names on these patrons one. Haze Outdoors, Haze. So it's Haze-LE/Nut. So Haze-Le-Nut. It's a hazelnut porter, 6.7%. Hazelnut, cacao, vanilla, and milk sugar. Who are they collaborating with? Just says Northern Monk. It might just be them. It just says Northern Monk.
Oh, it's not a patrons?
It says patrons, but...
Oh, I thought that was what they did with their collabs. And that.
Yeah. But it's just literally saying Northern Monk. On the rim, on on the flavour test.
Interesting.
Yeah, if I find anyone else, then I'll let you know. But it just says Northern Monk. But yeah, it's a hazelnut porter. Yeah, I can't really see any other. I'll Google it, but I can't see any other.
Maybe they just wanted to really make a hazelnut porter, but not as as like a limited batch kind of run. Perhaps.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I'll have a look.
Slide it in there as their first beer of the 16th series. Just,
it's a patrons project. Those seem to sell better.
Aadil, how is your beer?
I wouldn't know. I got distracted by other things. It is a little clearer, a little more translucent. It's just as flat as the last one. Even on the pour, there's almost no head.
Really orangey, it looks.
A little red orange. Like I would say it's like a blood orange.
Okay.
Type color.
Yeah.
The citrus still the predominant smell on the nose. I got that right on the pour. It's really lovely. It's like again, it's got this sweet sort of. There's a slight tartness, but it's like a tangerine almost in the sort of citrus area, but with a little bit of tart.
Yeah,
it's not purely sweet. Ooh, it's quite thin, which I'm not surprised at because of the lack of carbonation.
Yeah,
quite watery. There's a lot happening here. First of all, the finishing, fantastic. Clearly have both those hops sort of melding really well, but doing... I'm not familiar with Vic's Secret, but it's obviously doing something to offset the pure sort of citroness. And it's lasting quite a while. Not super bitter at all, but just lingering.
Okay. Edge back in there just to double check.
Yeah, so there's a slight note on the malts in the beginning. You get a little bit of biscuit.
Okay.
Just a little bit of like, oh, there's malts, and then it just fades into this like really smooth, luxurious, again, light, not super bitter, hoppy sort of curve.
Okay.
Where it sort of goes up a little, but not in a strong way. And then it just fades into this really well-balanced citra forward. But again, the Vic's Secret seems to be doing something against that because it's not sort of super citra-y. It seems to be tempered, and I think it's just being melded really well. This is very drinkable. And like to the point where I'm really enjoying the finish. The finish is lasting a while. Still want another taste. I'm probably going to drink this very quickly because I can, and that means to get more of those other tastes. It's a very... I'm very happy with... Also, fuck off, 7.4%. No idea. I would have said it... I could easily be a session, though, like, because it's sort of thin and really drinkable. And again, there's not a lot of sweetness to it to, like, betray its alcoholic content. It's just... If you poured me this and said, oh, yeah, it's session strength, I'd have, like, 2 and 20 minutes to be like, yeah, no problem. And then be like, oh, why do you think you lied to me?
Isn't it crazy how, like, we want our imperial stouts to be, like, thick and heavy, and then we love it when, like...
like a...
Oh. You've exploded, Lucy.
Well,
no!
She's gone forever. She'll be back. At least we've got her beautiful smiling face looking at us. Oh. Oh no.
I lost you, Ben. Oh,
everyone's back.
Oh, hey. Yeah, I could hear you lot still, but so yeah.
You heard us making our random robot noises?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It was wonderful.
You're
but,
like, why are they not listening to me? It's because we couldn't hear you.
No, yeah. I knew that, so I was just like...
I do like that this is the week where... inside baseball, we have a little bit of a stutter, and I didn't start Audacity.
Bad.
It's open.
It's
fine. Wasn't started.
I've done that at least twice before, so
That's true. I'm annoyed because I started Audacity.
Or it's even worse when you start Audacity and it just disappears.
Yeah,
like
that's very true.
A few weeks ago, which was very strange.
But it's a good place where we just go star swipe.
Yeah, but as I was saying, isn't it funny how that we want Imperial Stouts to be like thick and heavy?
Yeah.
But if we have like an IPA and it's light,
Even
we don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I think it's because of like the sort of the tastes involved in what we're used to.
Yeah.
Like,
if you're drinking orange juice, you expect it to be 0%.
well, like, yeah, like even I mean, so even
Pulpy.
yeah, even
No,
like
I don't like pulp.
mango juice
Pulp.
that's like pulpy.
Can we settle
it's
this?
Still not heavy.
Pulp or no pulp? No
Pulp.
pulp. No.
Pulp.
No pulp.
Pulp.
Should not be any bits
Pulp.
in orange juice. I don't want to eat
Pulp.
my drink.
Pulp.
I'm drinking,
I can
not
drink
eating.
both. I can drink
Pulp.
No, it should be smooth.
Your morning citrus-based beverage should be like the foundation of investigative nerd journalism.
Pulp. Okay.
Good.
But I just prefer it smooth. Like, I don't know. Isaac Hayes? I don't know.
Wow, pretty good. Pretty good.
Nice.
I don't know.
What beer were we talking about? What are we talking about?
Aadil's, he's really enjoying it.
I'm really
so-
enjoying it. And I'm enjoying it partly because it tastes like it shouldn't be 7.4%.
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, which
Nice.
is fabulous.
It is.
I think
Good,
it was my beer that was next up.
And also the fact that there are malts and coming through it's nice when you get that like light tasting IPA. It also has more of a like not just a hop forward thing.
Yeah.
Sorry. Now we can shift to when you do. I think I overtalked Lucy.
Did you go, Ben?
No.
Oh, well, where am I?
Go now, Lucy.
It was this
You're ready.
technical
You're
issue,
ready.
that's what it is. Yes, I'm ready and waiting. Yeah, it's you probably can't see on camera or with your ears, but it's not even like fully black. It's got a very not even dark. It's like it's very brown.
It looks like a flat cola.
It does from where you're looking at, but from here it looks like dirty dishwater, which is
really?
not
It's lighter.
yeah. It's like a light brown. But yeah, it's got, as you say, it's like no head at all. It poured like that, literally no head. You'd expect that from like a high percentage beer, but this is only 6.7. But even at 6.7, it's got quite a heavy body as well, which is, as we were discussing earlier, more of what I like. It's got a heavy body, but it doesn't taste. You can't taste much alcohol in it. You are very much getting that hazelnut, which is very sweet as well. So it's not got a lot going on other than the hazelnut. But for me personally, I really like that because I really like hazelnut. And I did check; it is only Northern Monk who have brewed this beer. It's not a collaboration.
Okay.
Just part of their patrons project, but yeah, it's like I don't really get to eat nuts that much. Like, well, I guess I can. Like, my sister has a nut allergy, so I grew up not eating nuts. So like when I get to eat nuts, because I love nuts, and it's like, well, put that in a sound clip. But it's like, yes, I love nuts, and I love hazelnuts. Hazelnut is great, so I really like this. It is very sweet. And I'm not much of a fan of sweet beers, but I think that's more in terms of like a IPA or a APA or something like that to that tune. Not necessarily a stout, because I like sweetness in stouts. I'd say this is on like the side of maybe too sweet, but I'm still enjoying it. But yeah,
That's good.
if you like hazelnut, get this beer because it's really, really hazelnutty.
Is there any kind of is there anything going alongside it? Like, is there any kind of like chocolatey kind of notes to it? Is it kind of? It wasn't a milk stout, was it? So there's no kind of like, I suppose
It's a
there's no
porter.
kind of.
Yeah, it's a vanilla and milk sugar porter. So yeah, definitely get that extra sweetness from the sugar and like kind of the milk stout kind of part of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, mainly just. I mean, there's no coffee in it. There's no bitterness to it. So it is just like eating a hazelnut chocolate. So,
Yeah.
it's like eating dairy milk or whatever. Yeah, but I enjoy it.
Smooth.
Yeah. Like Isaac Hayes.
Nice.
Yeah.
So my dark beer, my stout, is very different to yours, Lucy. It's similar in that it's got that body to it. It has that slight viscous, that very slight kind of velvety edge to it. But it's a very odd kind of combination of flavours going on. On the nose, you get this slightly roasted coffee flavour kicking in. But when you drink it, it's almost a little... I can see like why it's an oatmeal stout, but it's almost a little like muddy. You know when you get like a really kind of thickly brewed coffee?
Yes.
It's kind of a bit, a bit more muddy, and
like kind of like an Arabic coffee, like that.
Like it's still got the beans in it.
Yeah, slightly. Well, it's just a little bit more. It's like a little bit more bitter than rich, perhaps. Right. But the oatmeal element to it kind of makes it, it does make it a bit more oaty. It almost edges on, you've made yourself a coffee, you've put in a dash, a tiniest amount of milk, and it's gone a little bit cold. It's kind of edging on that sort of level, or it's got that like Weetabixy kind of taste to it almost.
Like there's some texture inside the.
Not necessarily. Not that there's some texture inside. Those oats are just kind of really kind of pushing through and pulling back that kind of like that really roasted, muddy push. So you can think of like a slightly more Middle Eastern kind of coffee, like slightly Turkish kind of coffee, where it's just a bit thicker, a little bit muddy, a little bit more earthy, perhaps. Yeah. But something is just dragging it back a little bit to make it slightly creamier.
You see, if I was an adult and drank coffee, I'd know what you mean. But when I go to Costa, I'm like hot chocolates.
Okay, for people who don't drink coffee, you drink it and you have this kind of instant sweetness which fades very quickly into a slightly more bitter, but not, we're not talking like big astringent bitterness. Astringent's a good word. Yeah. Pretty much.
That's a standard coffee tasting.
Yeah, I know what coffee. I know what coffee tastes like, but I cannot distinguish the difference between probably decaf or instant or Turkish or Moroccan or any kind of coffee.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of people can't.
Actually, I probably like the taste of coffee. It's just that I don't drink coffee, and I haven't in ages because I didn't like the bitterness, but I like bitter beers. I like coffee and beer, so I probably like coffee, but
I wouldn't be surprised. But
I have enough vices as it is. Beer, cocaine.
That squad you work on.
Yep.
Squad?
Yeah, aren't you on the Vice Squad?
Oh yes. DEA here.
Ooh. Yes, I think it's kind of like as a final note on the After the Storm. It does, it does come across as like a collaboration beer. I think if I blind tasted this, I wouldn't be able to tell you that it's like a left-handed giant beer. It has those elements, that very slight sweetness to their stouts that they get out of it is there, but that muddiness, that kind of astringency, no.
Yeah, that's a word.
Astringent nature to it, is kind of dominating, and perhaps that's what maybe like Burnt Mill are bringing to this. I mean, it's really, really easy to drink. I'm not getting the alcohol at all, even higher than last one, 8.3%. So, just working really, really well. I mean, two beers which have been, not not kind of like standard tastes for the styles that they're kind of going for.
Right.
Two slightly odder tasting beers than than you would kind of maybe normally expect, but both working quite well. More on that later, I suppose. Aadil, we'll come to you. Do you bring us a topic, sir? Is there anything that you wish to discuss this week?
There was. What was it?
Was it a game? Was it philosophy? Was it philosophy games?
Was it the idea of freedom?
So I actually am so out of practice with playing games that when I've been like, oh, I want to leave bed, I haven't even thought about a game. I've just like watched some YouTube or some Netflix.
Yeah, mate, I've been in the same position.
I will say, so I did actually think it was an interesting thing, the 2 Anthem stories that came out this past week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just from a game design and like complexity issue. So the first one that happened was someone did some tests and found out that the level 1 rifle basically is the best rifle in the game because of the way the default, like basically the way they coded these default low-level pieces of crap guns.
Was it an issue with scaling?
Yes.
From what I can understand from it.
Yeah, and so it's not the case that the weaker items after that default level are better than everything else. It's just the way that they sort of coded the baseline, what you start with, meant that it sort of auto-scaled in a way that nothing else did, and that meant that it just was the best. But what I found interesting on that part was the numbers it reported were accurate to the level, but the amount of damage the enemy got. So like if you shot, so they're like they did tests and they shot the same type of enemy, and it took like 4 shots with the default one and 6 shots with the max level one. But the numbers reported off of the
40 times more powerful.
Yeah, it was like over a factor of 10, probably, like you said, a factor of 40 different when you did, like when you calculated how much what those numbers added up to, it was negligible, but it was still doing way more damage because that I found really interesting because it's.
I think that was a bug. I think they reported that and they said it was a bug, and they need that. I think it might be. I don't know if a patch has already come out, but I've heard about this, and they definitely said this is wrong. This is a bug. It's not anything to do with the gameplay as such. Yeah. But it will obviously factor into your bigger picture with that. Yeah.
So what I found interesting about that was the fact that it seemed like it's reporting a number, but that number isn't actually what's being hit. Something's gone wonky between the number that is properly represented and the amount of health being taken.
Yeah.
The second bug, again, I just think it's interesting to sort of. I just was found, this week versus last week, and it was that, lo and behold, because of scaling,
Scalebound's coming back.
Nintendo Switch exclusive.
The way they've obviously done something with relative scaling.
Yeah.
And so when you've got a max level piece of gear and something that isn't a max level piece of gear, you don't have the best stats. Seems reasonable. Why it's relative is because it turns out if you took off that sub-max level piece of gear, you would have better stats.
Right.
Because it turns out...
I haven't seen that one. So it's, it's better to have...
Nothing.
To remove the gear than to have it on.
Yeah. So it turns out if you have one piece of high level gear, it's better to just wear it and nothing else on your javelin or your magic mech, because it will scale all of your spots to that level. But when you have something sub that level in a different spot, it'll represent a lower set of stats. And so why I thought this was interesting was it just shows that they're trying to do some really complicated relations between things instead of absolute values, and they're hitting all these weird walls and problems. But like the hardcore Anthem people are livid because it's like, well, it turns out the best guns in the game are the ones you start with, and then it turns out that the best thing you could do is not wear all of the gear that you earned as soon as you have one thing that's better in a better class.
Yeah. I mean, this obviously just comes into the bigger picture where it's like this game feels rushed. I mean, even just the VIP demo that was a complete train wreck was just like, and it's, you know, it's BioWare's first, you know, entry. Like, I'm sure they'll have games to come which, you know, refine this. Like, we've seen Bungie do this, we've seen Ubisoft do this. You know, that you know,
persistent world.
Games as service, like they launch in not a great state, and it's like just bugs like these. I mean, they've probably done the refinements behind the scenes and stuff like that, and things just like this just happen, and you don't take any joy. I mean, except from, you know, gamers are weird because it's like, I don't care about loot-based shooters. I don't care about BioWare's games in the bigger scheme, and you know what, EA, I don't hate them. People seem to hate them, but it's like, there's a big mob mentality with this kind of game. It's like, I don't take any joy from seeing a game just fail. And it's like, you know, there's people behind that. It's like Division 2, for example. I could not give a crap about Ubisoft, really, or like their games and services, but it was great. It was actually really good seeing that Division 2 launch in a good state. No issues with servers. Balanced really well. People like the end game because I'm sure people are there already, and people like, you know, the start, beginning, end looks really pretty. It's just hitting all those marks, and that's great to see. Couldn't give a crap about the game, but that's great to see. And it's actually quite sad, the inverse, just seeing that Anthem's having all these problems, and people are just piling on it because it's EA.
Well,
you know,
and because of tribalism, isn't it?
Andromeda, and it's sad.
Oh, man, I'd love another Tribes game. So I think one of the things is, I mean, why do you think the Division 2 is launched reasonably well? Well, it's because
of the Division 1.
It's incremental increase on Division 1, right? But like, BioWare has this, I think it was way too ambitious to switch gears into the type of game and then go persistent shooter. Like, why?
No, they have the chops to do it. Yeah, has the money to do it. It's just it shouldn't have launched now.
Yeah, and I was going to say,
or maybe in early access.
Yeah, the point I was trying to make is like the reason why, if you have a tight deadline, which you do in modern AAA gaming, and you don't know what you're doing, one of the big problems is you like, I guarantee you Ubisoft learned what areas of QA they had to do first. And like, on these things, securing end game balance and content is super important, because as soon as end game starts to look shitty, people bail forever. And the fact that the end game gear that they, like, within a month of it coming out, it turns out that like no gear really matters, or matters in two fundamentally different ways. There was problems with balance of end game gear versus the rest. Suggests that they didn't really know. I'm sure they tested a bunch, but like, some of this is like foreknowledge of like, this is the type of experience that will make or break our player base. Let's make sure this balance is something we've tested a bunch.
And they've got it wrong, you know?
Yeah, so. And it's fine that they've got it wrong, but I just think this is, like you said, the fact that they rushed through, and this is why you have to actually, I think, ask the question, if you're putting a good quality studio onto something brand new that they're not used to, and an aggressive timeline, no matter who they are, you're going to get fucked, and games as a service is a really bad thing to fuck up.
Well, the thing is that, like, stuff like the Ubisoft, they had the time to get it right, and back then, there was, you know, not many games as services, and it's like, they had the opportunity to get it right, the publisher backed them.
Totally.
But it can work it two ways. It's like, this day and age, so many games coming out really polished for free, like Apex Legends, tons of people playing that, which is damning in terms of if you're BioWare, but at the same time, there's so many more people playing these kinds of games, you know? True. So it's like, Anthem could very well just have a successful future just by virtue of the number of people interested in playing these games.
So, maybe. I don't know. I mean, we've moved away from kind of like BioWare's bread and butter, that single player narrative driven kind of game, and they've tried to move into something else. we were saying about kind of like the time that they've had, but having a quick look, I just wanted to double check because I seem to remember, a lot of BioWare games are lauded. Like the Mass Effect trilogy. Did they make Andromeda?
Ben, sorry, just whilst you fact checking, I'd love to know if this was made in the same engine as like Mass Effect Andromeda.
Oh, I don't know. I'll double check that in a moment.
The Frostbite engine, and they had massive problems with that.
Ooh,
I don't
know.
Because people have said it looks nice and stuff like that, so I'm just really wondering if it's that.
Well, I seem to remember there was one of the Dragon Age games wasn't reviewed quite well. People didn't like it very much. I don't know whether it was
probably
Dragon
Origins.
Age 2 or Dragon Age Origins. I cannot remember which one it was. But, this isn't kind of like BioWare's first stumble, I think, kind of as a game. And that's not necessarily down. It's not necessarily down to them. But I can't see. Your screen is too bright. Frostbite 3, yes, it was, Lucy. There you go.
Maybe that's part of the issues. Yeah.
But Dragon Age Inquisition was a 2014 game, so they've had maybe
one game of the year.
It did win Game of the Year on a lot of sites. It's had maybe 5 years to come together with a bigger team. It may have been in development before that with a slightly smaller team until people moved off of things like Inquisition. I don't know kind of like BioWare's structure to know kind of what they're doing. So obviously they've got like not Knights of the Republic. What's the persistent one? Just the Old Republic, the Star Wars online
the Old
game.
Republic, yeah.
With EA, they move people back and forth. They change things around. They shutter studios and move people elsewhere, or just get rid of them completely. Like,
is it Casey Hudson who went back to BioWare as well?
Oh, I don't know.
I think he might have. Yeah, maybe.
Yes, it was Casey Hudson. Yes, because he was chatting about Anthem completely. So it's kind of interesting to see. Maybe did people get moved off of this project at one point? Were people put back onto it? Were the resources what they needed? Did EA just need to get a game out in this quarter?
Sure they absolutely did.
That's definitely it.
I mean, what do we have? Battlefield 5.
That didn't
at the
have much
in
of a
third
October,
quarter.
November sort of time.
Yeah, third quarter last year.
We then had, as we talked about, Apex Legends released a few weeks ago or a month ago or so,
which
kind of in the lead up to Anthem. And then I saw today they had the trailer. The trailer dropped for the Battle Royale mode, Firestorm, for Battlefield 5, which is coming at the end of the month. It's coming in March.
Really?
No, they really want to get those numbers out for their investors, don't they?
But this is it. Like, it's not necessarily a developer issue. There's so many other things at play going on.
But I think the timelines and margins, and where I mean kind of PR margins more than like profit margins, are so tight because turns out that you can be the most profitable game by giving it away for free. So if you're going to enter the games as a service model, you really have to do it well. And I think like if you don't have faith that things are going to work perfectly, you don't fucking release it because it's going like Anthem won't recover from what it might have been if it
will.
Apex.
I don't think it will. People have moved on. People will play the Division 2. People will move on to the next looter shooter.
No, it's like
a slightly different thing.
They will have got enough pre-orders and be like, we can just release this now before the year end.
Oh no, I'm saying that I'm saying they will make money off of it. I'm saying
this game will be profitable.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. They will make money off of it, but like the amount of money and so they won't grow their player base much more than where they're at because no one comes back to these things.
I think they will. They do though. Look at Siege. These things do have a.
That's very true, but Siege has that competitive play to it. Siege has that esports scene behind.
That's true. It's only PvP.
Exactly.
But that's the thing. In a year's time, they're gonna have PvE. Everyone's gonna be like, writing articles. Anthem's good now, and people can go back to it.
I don't know, because it won't have the player base behind it, right?
Yeah.
But it will.
There will be some people. No, every game has its core audience who, for whatever reason, decides this is my game, and
there will be core Anthem players because they're going to keep extending the end game. It's like it's going to happen. Like
I guess the point that's the
model these days. You know?
Oh yeah, my point wasn't that it will just die. My point was if they had taken the extra few months, the size of that core player base would be bigger because the people on day 30 people would still be buying it in droves because of the reviews. Instead, you're literally having people be like, I was maybe nope, not going to happen, and those people won't come back because those first couple months, like I feel like pre-orders secure a notion of profitability, and that's actually why we have these broken games coming through, or these sort of under QA'd, and it's like, well, if Anthem, like I was super curious about, but boy, was I not ready to put any money into that game until I tried it. Right. And then it was like, well, no, it turns out it's broken enough that I don't think I'll even bother trying it.
Probably crash your PS4 at this point. So. Yeah, no, I thought it's either going to go one or two ways. It's going to be Mass Effect Andromeda, EA just be like, nah, it ain't no DLC, ain't no updates, nothing. Or people will come back to it in a year's time. And you know what? It's probably not much of that. I mean...
I think they'll put money into it, but
I think it's the difference. That's the difference between the kind of like the planned games as a service versus a planned single player game, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's kind of like the single player game, which we pushed out a kind of like contained story, didn't sell very well. We don't need to do anything else to this.
Yeah.
Whereas a persistent open world loot shooter, they need to constantly update. They will have to always have a team working to patch and fix and do stuff until they decide it's no longer going to be open. And whether that's one person or 20 people or 200 people, you know, it's going to vary.
Yeah, I think the bottom line is where I'm coming from is it's only concerning for the future of BioWare. I mean, there will be people who are like die-hard Anthem fans at this point, 6 weeks in, who are not even like 2 weeks in, who are like, I want to continue playing this game and want the updates. But I think the most concerning thing is, I think that everyone's going to be concerned about is like, EA just going to shut BioWare down. Like they've had free, except for Dragon Age, like 3 misses in a row essentially, and it's like, even though they sold well, like some of them. I mean, Mass Effect didn't sell well. Anthem has sold like I think 1/10 of what Mass Effect did, and it's like it's gutting, and it's like I don't care for BioWare games, but it'd be a shame to see them not be in the industry. And I think that's really where it comes from, because it's like there's no footprint with Anthem. It's not like Mass Effect Andromeda was bad. This is the end of the Mass Effect series that people hold near and dear.
Yeah.
This is like it was just Anthem, whatever. We'll have National Anthem next week or next year, or we'll have something else, in a few years' time. There's no, in terms of IP and the weight behind it.
Failure isn't a big deal.
It's not a big deal.
Well, I think
like, if Anthem went away tomorrow, no one would really care apart from the die-hard fans. So.
I think the Andromeda failure was the fact. I mean, the reason why they could treat it the way they did was because the series ended with 3. This was just like what if we collected some more money off of people by making something vaguely in the same universe, but not really attached to the same story.
I don't even think it was that cynical, though.
Start a new trilogy.
Yeah.
It just didn't go maybe as well. Like, I played Andromeda. It was fine. It didn't grab me. I didn't get invested. It was just a kind of by the numbers, cover based shooter,
like all Mass Effects.
Well,
because everyone says the Mass Effect Andromeda story is like okay, so it's like they were all just like basic cover based shooters.
I've only ever played the first planet of Mass Effect 1 like twice or maybe 3 times. And then I get distracted and I lose track of my saved game on a computer, and then I play it another couple years later. And
start again.
Yeah.
Anthem's failure is only concerning in terms of the future of BioWare.
Yeah, I agree.
That's it, especially in this day and age.
We were, as we were kind of talking, talking as you mentioned, Lucy, earlier about the future of BioWare. I scrolled through the games that they've made, and obviously we've got things like Baldur's Gate, Neverwinter Nights, and stuff like that. There was the older BioWare games, and recently, suddenly there was news like a couple of weeks ago that a lot of these older games are going to be coming to consoles.
Yeah,
they don't own those games anymore. That is now Beamdog and Skybound.
I was
going to
say,
it's not BioWare and EA anymore. And I thought, maybe they've still got a little bit, maybe they've still got some income coming in through, we've got another team working on these. No, not them.
Yeah.
So they have put fucking everything into Anthem, obviously, from BioWare perspective.
I mean, EA could honestly just re-release like a up-res version of Mass Effect, and people would eat that up. I think that would have sold better than Anthem.
Oh, I guarantee you that's in EA's playbook, but they're not going to fucking hire BioWare to do that.
Because what's his name?
They won't give that to BioWare.
What's his name? Liverpool traitor, who used to run the company. He was like, no. He was like, no remasters. But yeah, I mean, under this leadership, then that'd very much be an easy venture. Just up-res them. It's like they don't look half bad. Like on Xbox.
The hardest thing will be to see, as long as someone kept the original OG texture files, because those will be much more detailed than the render.
Yeah, it's sad to see.
Completely.
It's like Fallout 76. It's like I've never cared about Fallout, but they're all right.
It turns out if you don't understand persistent world games. Don't just make one because you are good at making games.
Or take the time to make
that are first person.
Do like Guerrilla did and take 6 years to make a good game that sells 10 million copies.
Killzone 2 was alright. But it's kind of like that. It's not necessarily that kind of like bandwagoning, because obviously Respawn have been able to do excellent things, jumping into the battle royale kind of mode and drawing people away from other games and things.
But think about the context of where they excel and the shift.
Yes, that's exactly. They have stayed kind of within their wheelhouse.
Yeah, they've never even been good at like third-person cover shooting, arguably. So. It was a massive jump for them. Maybe they were not the right studio, but maybe it's nice that they were given the creative liberties to actually pursue that if they wanted to.
I would
hopefully
imagine.
If the publisher's given them that creative liberty and say, yeah, we'll back you, hopefully they're going to say, okay, this didn't turn out great, but we'll still back you. Yeah.
It would be really interesting to see what the pitch was. Whether BioWare went to EA and said, hey, we really want to make a single-player game, which is all about a guy in a mech suit, not like a really svelte kind of like Iron Man suit, and you're with a squad of other people, and it's kind of Mass Effect, but this is the premise. It's still sci-fi, blah blah blah, and we can offset it against Dragon Age. And EA turned around and said, look at all these other games. We need to do something else.
That's the knee-jerk reaction. You hope it's
completely. Yeah, very much. I've got no insight into this whatsoever.
Yeah.
Okay, think of who made Apex and who made Anthem, and what the basic of who made Apex previous successes were. And I think it's just hilarious that the mech one isn't by the mech people, and it failed miserably. Yeah, it turns out it wasn't about mechs, it was about design, motherfuckers.
It was about feel, it was about ease of play, and it's about kind of...
I was reminded of mechs.
Anyway, as you said, Lucy, it's always sad to see kind of like any game do poorly,
especially
even to kind of like to Anthem's kind of like tune, it's a very big profile game which has done extremely poorly, I think, in
perception,
in the media, in perception through gamers. Yeah. This must be it must be one of the biggest kind of the biggest, not disappointments. What's the word I'm looking for? There's something else. It must be one of the biggest kind of like, not blunder either. It's just a bit of a shit show.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if BioWare had a feeling that this was going to happen.
Well, like, bad things coming through, like the Fallout 76, and then you have that whole thing with, like, oh, we couldn't ship out these, stupid bags, and it's like, oh, then there was the data leak. It's just like everything just piles on at the same time. It's just so unfortunate.
Oh, completely. But people look for it, though.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
The Division 2 may have some fantastic press at the moment. It releases whilst we're recording tomorrow.
It's not out yet.
So you could buy a...
You know what? Never mind.
Like
it's fine. It's fine. It's
you could buy like a gold edition or a limited edition and
pay
get early access.
Yeah,
Exactly.
If you paid double, you could play for 3 days extra.
But it's out proper tomorrow.
Or if you buy it from the super secret game shop, you got it today and it's already ready and waiting on your machine.
See, I'm annoyed because my digital download, I think because I put it on my main account, or bought it on my main account, it's
the Canadian account.
Yeah, so I think it's set to Halifax midnight, not UK midnight for the unlock.
What's that, like 6, 7, 8 in the morning?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. I wasn't planning on playing at midnight, but it was kind of like, why are you saying it's 9 hours at 6 p.m.?
PS4 has different times.
Yeah.
I think Xbox, it's all midnight GMT. I could be wrong, but yeah.
It's just dumb.
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, luckily I'm not a day one person, really, in that sense, anyway.
But yeah, Division 2 looks cool.
Yeah.
It's getting some very good press at the moment, but as we said in our chat, they've had a whole game and a few years
and like Division didn't start great.
Nope.
No, I just remember that gif of people waiting in a line to like
the
load
on the computer.
Just thinking, what are these games? Why do people like them? And I will just play Box Boy forever and be happy.
Nice. Shall I move on? Or shall we move on to just very briefly discuss? I kind of
also my like, oh yeah, I guess this is a topic. Boy, did that dominate for like a half hour.
Yeah,
always does.
Good.
Good points in there.
I kind of I don't really want to talk about the game I've been playing. It's good. It's fun. It's really good. It kind of leads on from what Slime Rancher leads on from what we were talking about last week. So I've been playing a lot of Slime Rancher, and I'm enjoying it. But I think I'm enjoying it because it's a kind of take it at your own pace sort of game. It follows the vein that something like maybe not. I was thinking of Stardew Valley, maybe not so much Stardew Valley, but something like Yonder.
Right.
Cloud Catcher
Chronicles, yes. Something like that kind of has, where you've got this like through line, which is really ambiguous, at least more so in Slime Rancher than it was in Yonder. You have this through line which is really ambiguous. You essentially have to explore the world and just explore the world. You've been put onto this ranch. You're not really told what to do.
There are some slimes.
There's lots of slimes, lots of different kinds of slimes who produce different kinds of crystals when you feed them and they shit them out. And you can then sell their shitty crystals. And then you make money for the corporation that sent you there.
Of course, there's a goddamn corporation.
Obviously.
Money for you.
Really tight sphincters.
But it turns into this...
Slime capitalist is what you should call it.
Slime capitalist, exactly. But it turns into this kind of slightly narrative game if you want it to be. You know, you occasionally get an email from someone who you've been in a relationship with, who you've left back on Earth, saying, "Hey, we did this, and this reminded me of you." Long distance relationships are quite hard. And then you move around, and then you move around the ranch, and you find a note left by the previous kind of like ranch owner, who's like, "I used to come here and just sit here and watch the sunset, and it was beautiful." And then another one would be,
I thought he was going to say, "Sit here and watch the slimes," and like that's just
I totally thought I was going to sit here and watch the slimes.
God, you need to go a bit higher. That's creepy.
But it kind of moved much more from this kind of farm management or resource management kind of game for me into this much more exploratory experience. I'm like, I haven't been to this area before. Oh shit, there's things here which I know will just jump at me and attack me, and I'm going to be killed. And luckily you're not killed, you're knocked out, and obviously you crawl your way back to your farm because 12 hours later you're awake.
So it's it's better in Stardew where you just pass out on the spot and wake up the next morning in the middle of the wilderness.
Yeah, because
you do wake up. You do wake up back at the ranch at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. Got
and
too
then you're
tired.
Like, I need to
picking
ranch.
Up leaves. Yeah.
And then you're like, oh my god, there's a ranch dressing slime.
Well, it doesn't. It doesn't have quite that intricate management as Stardew Valley does. It's much more sort of like, you've made a pen. You can put some slimes in it. You feed them. They'll create these.
I was thinking a pen. Yeah, and I was like, what?
Slime pen.
A slime pen. Or you can plant some fruit, and some fruit will grow. You don't have to do anything to that fruit. Every so many in-game hours, that fruit will just grow, and you can then feed it to your slimes or do whatever you want with it, sell it or whatever. So it kind of has that nice pacing to it that kind of opens it to you to let you do what you want, really.
That's nice.
And I've generally kind of ignored the whole rancher thing, and I've done some bits, and I've gone, oh, these are new slimes. I'll go back and open another pen. I've got enough money to pay for another pen to be built. I'll put them in there, and they can start producing gems for me, I guess, crystals. But I really want to go to the bit that's past them. So I'll then work out that they eat something, and then they roll on the spot and roll towards you. So actually, I need to dodge around them a little bit, not massively, but a little. And there's kind of like big slimes which you can feed, which give you extra aesthetic items, like baubles which you can put places, or will just spawn chickens or other things, random stuff. And it's just nice to have a game where I'm like, I've got no pressure, absolutely none at all.
Yeah.
I'm just going to wander around and have a look. I'm going to go to this next area. Oh, I've fed one of these giant slimes and they've given me a key. I can then open a door to another area. Sure, I'll go in there and I'll have a look. And it's really nice compared to something like Metro Exodus, which is a single player game, which again you can take at your own pace. You can explore a little bit. You can do that kind of like through line of just following the missions. But Metro Exodus is like, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this.
Yeah.
Slime Rancher isn't that at all. You don't have to explore. You haven't got to do that. You could just do farm management stuff if you want. Because
I've heard a lot of people get into this game, and I thought it was just like purely a gameplay loop of like just ranching. So that's really cool. They allow you those two different experiences, because it reminds me sort of like The Forest, which is probably aesthetically the opposite to Slime Rancher, where it's like you crash land on a planet full of island full of cannibals, and it's like you can just focus on like survival and have fun with your friends, or you can play it single player and just find out what happened to your kid who went missing from the plane and have like a narrative experience. This sounds like that's pretty cool, because I just thought it was just like ranch simulator.
Well, I mean, it is really cool, but it's backed up very well by quite a simple but very effective like move set and control scheme. You suck stuff up with your arm cannon and you shoot it out, and that is pretty much it.
So you can jump. Arm.
You've got like a semi RoboCop kind of arm, I suppose. But it's more of a vacuum cleaner on the end rather than a Gatling gun.
It sounds like a Kirby arm, not RoboCop.
Kirby uses his mouth and nothing else.
Yeah.
Kirby
like
if your arm was Kirby.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
For fuck's sake, people.
But you can do, you can.
Do you know how analogies aren't perfect? Do you know how that works?
Do you know how Kirby anatomy is? God.
Yeah, he barely has arms. That motherfucker's got these weird
That's true, like tiny flaps.
I clearly wasn't saying, giving you a description, that I thought you had, like, I guess maybe...
Well, I thought you meant, like, the Blaster Master.
A couple of little flaps.
Yeah, I thought you meant,
like a Mega Man flap.
Yeah.
Like Mega Man crossed with
Mega Man Blaster, yeah.
But, so, yes, Slime Rancher, I'm enjoying it
Good.
It's paced really well. It controls really well. It lets you kind of do what you want, obviously within the confines of the game. But I wanted to just kind of mention how I think Epic are curating. Building on our conversation last week, Epic are curating their free games very, very well. The games I have spent time playing the most this year so far are Metro Exodus, big single-player narrative-driven game.
Did you get that on PC?
Budget. No, brought that on PlayStation.
Okay.
Subnautica, which I got free through the Epic Store.
Yeah.
Axiom Verge, which I got free through the Epic Store.
Oh, I didn't know they gave that away.
Which I got last couple of weeks. Yeah, maybe the one before. Slime Rancher.
You've got that elsewhere. Yeah, you've got that.
I mean, I've played a few games. I played Tomb Raider. Not a game from Rise of the Tomb Raider, at least. Not a game from kind of like recent memory. Maybe Axiom Verge maybe is a little bit before.
Well, you say that it's like on another, subscription service, Game Pass. So yeah, it's all about that nowadays.
Completely. So it's just really interesting how my time isn't just like, I've brought Resident Evil 2, I've brought Metro Exodus, I've brought Devil May Cry, I've brought The Division 2. It's like most of my games have been free so far this year. I'm playing a lot of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, another free game I got free through paying my subscription through PlayStation Plus. A lot of the games that I'm playing currently this year,
ones you didn't directly buy.
Yeah, 2.5 months in, it's been games I've been given through being signed up to something. So it is really interesting the way that we're kind of moving to the delivery of these games. Yes, some of them are free. Some of them are from last year. Some of them are older than that. But Lucy, I know you've been playing a lot of Crackdown 3.
Oh, it's awesome.
And I imagine you've been playing that through Game Pass.
Yeah. It's like the perfect rental game. I really... Shall we move on to Crackdown 3?
It builds on kind of like what we're talking about. And this idea that some of the games that we're getting a lot of joy from and we're spending time in are games that we're getting through some kind of subscription.
Yeah, so here's a question. Do you think you would have purchased Crackdown 3?
Yeah. I'm really enjoying it.
I know you enjoy it now, but I'm saying like...
Oh, no.
Yeah,
no.
So
I would have rented it if Blockbuster was still around.
Yeah.
People at this point, but yes, Aadil, you're absolutely right. I wouldn't have bought it.
Yeah.
With the middling reviews, which I think are absolutely 100% harsh. Because not wrong. Just on the harsh side. I understand why people say it, but it's like, come on, man, this game's cool.
I really loved Crackdown 1. I finished it in record time, and I don't finish games.
Yeah, you've always said that, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't actually remember Crackdown 2.
I've never played Crackdown 2. I've played a little bit of Crackdown 1. It was well after the fact.
Oh, mine was too, because I played it on the Xbox
360.
Yeah, but I didn't get a 360 until 2010, and I think I got Crackdown like 2012, 2013, because I heard such good things. So basically when 2 was coming out, I was like, I want to check out this one, and it was so much fun, and it was so well designed and well balanced.
Yeah.
And Crackdown 2 was just a letdown because it didn't really do a lot more.
Didn't build on it, yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly think, these games are probably like evergreen. It's like I've been a bit of a gaming slump recently. I've played a few games, but it's like nothing is like, yeah, I really like this. I mean, I've come off the back of like some really good games, like Spyro I played at the start of the year, which is just my jam. Like Resident Evil, which is probably will hit my top 10 this year, and Golf Peaks and stuff like that. So it's like I just want a game. When you're in the mood for like
simple
something particular.
Oh, I see.
I just wanted a video game, and this Crackdown 3 is everything. A video game. It's like if you gave like an Alien, it's like this is the meaning of fun to us humans who play video games, you'd give them Crackdown free. It's just. I mean, I just wanted something where I could just switch my brain off and just like play. So I started like Dead Rising 4 again, but it's like this is gonna be like a 20-hour sync because I was just like, you know what, just start up Crackdown free. From what I've heard about it, I usually try and watch like cutscenes, at least the first couple ones, because it's like, you know, people put a lot of time into this. But I was like, no. I was like, character selection, Terry Crews, absolutely yes, because he's the greatest. And I was like, just put me in the game. I didn't know what I was doing because I shot a few refugees. I didn't know that they weren't the bad guys, because they weren't the bad guys. And then it was like over the tannoy, it's like this South African woman. I think it's like South Africa police state, a version of. I don't know. I've not watched a single cutscene, and it was like, I shot refugees, and I'm like, don't do that. I was like, okay, I'll shoot some other people who are shooting at me. I shot them. Like, got some shotguns, got some grenade launchers, and I'm just wrecking everything in this like,
pretty destructible
utopian in terms of color, but dystopian. It's not even destructible. I think that's what's also great about this game. You can just download the single player version, the single player and the multiplayer, a separate download.
The multiplayer's not ready yet, is it?
Huh?
Multiplayer's not ready yet, is it?
I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is. I don't care. What's the point? Like I just download the single player. It's a separate download. I think it's called Wreckfest or something. No, that was a video. Wreck Zone. I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's a separate download, so it's like, okay, thank you. My bandwidth, you know, unlimited, whatever. It's nice. Like, yes, I only have to download 30 gig rather than 60 gig. I don't know how big the game is, but it's just so much fun. I can't stress how much fun just running around as Terry Crews, feeling like Terry Crews, because you are just wrecking everybody with all your guns, unstoppable, just shooting everything in sight. There's barely any depth to the gameplay. It's like you're just jumping, shooting, and that's it. But how many games do you know where you can just have a loadout of free guns and they're all grenade launchers? I carry a free grenade launcher. You have different weapon types. Like you have explosive, incendiary, laser, whatever. I just want
laser.
Yeah, you get laser beams, grenades? Pulse beams. You get laser. You get like freeze grenades, this and that. And basically, from what I can pass from the story, and even though I've not watched any cutscenes, is that there's like several different factions, and you're taking them all down to get to basically the hench people, and then basically the kingpin.
Yeah.
So you're taking down different.
It's like Crackdown 1, where you can take. There's like 3 or 4 major gangs, and you can take them out in any order. But there's a slight difficulty curve that suggests a certain path.
Absolutely, and it's like, okay, I'm taking out this, this garbage, like, I don't know what you call them, landfills, or you're taking out this chemical lab, or you're shutting down this auto, this garage or something. You're basically just shooting people and shooting robots. Don't know what it's about, but it's just so much fun. It looks really good. I know that people say it looks like a 360 game. I mean, there's no like the textures are just basically flat. so
that's why it looks like a 360.
Yeah, but it's like, I think that's like half and half the stylistic choice and half and half. Oh crap, we've been developing this for like 20 years. Let's just put anything on. I think more so from the latter, but it's like, it actually looks really nice. It's very colourful.
Nice.
It runs at, I mean, whoever is out there and cares about Crackdown 3, I think it's running at 4K 60, and I've not had any slowdown at all whatsoever, even though there's millions of explosions going on with my free grenade launchers at once. One X.
Oh, you have an X. I couldn't remember. Yeah. I forgot whether you... Yeah,
I was stupid enough to make the plunge, But
so is that?
But something like this is absolutely worth it.
I just meant like, so that runs like a dime might not be a universal experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you'd probably need a decent enough PC. I'm not sure what the compatibility.
Did it come out on PC?
Yeah, it'll be a Play Anywhere title. But
shit, that changes everything.
Yeah.
Oh wait, my PC has no graphics card.
Yeah, so it runs really, really well. And
some of the criticism was that at some points the difficulty curve essentially, rather than it being more difficult, just floods more enemies kind of like at you.
Oh yeah, there's sometimes.
I think that's the point of this style of game.
Yeah, it's and that's but fine, nothing's killing me because I'm Terry Crews.
But again, you're getting to a point where you've got like 10 enemies on screen, all firing at you, and explosions going off. Versus you've got 40 enemies on screen, and you're getting like no slowdown whatsoever. Like,
None.
That's a good achievement to be able to. It's maintain...
incredible. It's one of the best running games I've ever played on like any system. There's no slowdown at all, and it's like, yeah, there's like hundreds of enemies firing all sorts of crap at me, and I'm just just laying into them and just destroying them in one shot. It's so
nice. Good. That's good.
It is such a good game.
Pure power fantasy.
Yeah, absolutely, and it just lets you skip every cutscene, and like even like the little cinematic. It's like, oh, you've taken over a zone. Skip that. And it's like okay, you got to climb this tower. You can reset at any point if you slip off, or if you're doing a car race or a traversal race, with just your character. It's like you slip off, just reset. It's fine. It's the pinnacle of fun. It's like it's not punishing me in any single way.
Yeah.
Just letting me have, as you say, that power fantasy. It runs well. It looks good, and you play as Terry Crews. 10 out of 10. Absolutely. I can't say enough good things about this game. I actually thought it's so good.
Now that I know that it's PC, it makes me want, because I thought it would
get Game Pass
on my Xbox ages ago. I thought I just didn't have a choice. If it's because this will be the first PCable Crackdown. This makes me want to. I mean, also looking at my Steam library, being like, these games I was looking forward to playing when it's done my dissertation. I can't because I don't have a graphics card. It's making me like look at what it will take to get a working PC again.
I mean, if it comes to, I don't know, it's Game Pass on PC. We've gone through this before. It's like I got Game Pass for like £2 for 2 months. So this game's basically not cost me anything, but I'm having so many hours of fun. It's like I started it yesterday and I didn't stop playing till 3 AM, and then I just woke up wanting to play this game. It's like I'll probably finish it after a few more hours, probably get about 10 hours of enjoyment from it. But like even the achievements, it's like this is, and like looking at my friends list, people have played this quite a lot. So people who have got into it have enjoyed it. There's not been a massive drop off. So I think that's a testament to this game, and just the gameplay loop. It's just really fun, I think it's got a bad rap. I mean, obviously I can't speak to the multiplayer, and it is just one package because it is, it is coming with single player and multiplayer. I mean, Sumo Digital developed the single player, and whoever else, someone within Microsoft Studios, developed the multiplayer. So it's 2 separate games.
Oh, I had no idea. That's
Sumo
weird.
Digital of Little Big Planet 3 fame?
Yeah. They developed the single player.
That's so it's like, super weird.
I think it's 2. It could be like 2 different games what they're talking about. So I'm just talking to the single player.
I mean, I'm assuming it's like we got the engine to a certain point and then we split.
Well, I know that like they were talking about like the multiplayer using the power of the cloud and whatever.
Oh yeah, that'll.
We've had more reports on what like XCloud and all of that sort of stuff is going to be, but there was this idea that the multiplayer for Crackdown 3 could do fucking everything because it was pulling from every system ever invented everywhere type thing. Like,
and that's what bogs it down, that long development cycle and the hype. Not even the hype, because I don't think anyone cared about that cloud technology at that point. But just
I think some people did.
Promise. Yeah, the big promise. And it was like, if this came out, even today, I'm not even talking about like 4 years ago when Crackdown was still, people were still yearning for it. But even today, I think if it just came out of Microsoft, just like, yeah, cool, like Recore or something. Just
Right.
Like, here you go. You know, we told you about this a year ago. Here it is at a like competitive price point. Like Recore was like £30, $40.
Yeah.
This came out like that. People would be over the moon that Crackdown's back. So it just has everything else behind it, and that's why people are not too hot on it. Which is a shame.
The known IP and all of the crazy hype that, like you said, Ben, like they were saying that everything in the entire map would be breakable, and you wouldn't have to worry about the machine
nothing's
being able to handle that because it was all being done on their servers, and that clearly isn't the game that. Like that was like 5 years ago almost. I think they made that claim, and that's clearly not what they've got now. But because of like those backtrack moves and those weird promises
and the delays, it's just a burden.
Yeah, it's just like I think this is. I think I'm hoping that this will make like the next generation style release more like we've seen more recently, where people are like, "This game's coming out in 3 months. It's basically done."
What gives me the most like promise and hope about this is that a third-party developer with Unreal Engine 4 can make a game run at 60.
Yeah.
You know, FPS at 4K, which I think it is, and that's for future technology with Xbox.
Yeah, completely.
That's really promising. You know?
And the fact that we're already at a stable high frame rate,
the amount of stuff that's going on in this,
fucking
good.
And you've now just given that tech to Ninja Theory, Obsidian, and all these other studios to kind of
internal studios,
go on their merry way with. Which is
Epic has made sure that like in their competitive store and also the way that they're currently licensing Unreal 4, which is right now the most powerful and well balanced with friendly to use engine. Right, like Unity's easier to use, but Unity doesn't do as much. Unreal 4 does a fuck ton, and it doesn't seem to hoodwink people the way Frostbite does.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, Ben, you were saying that this could potentially be what Days Gone becomes. Like, not many high expectations of it, but it's like it just looks like it's like every video game just molded into a Katamari ball and just like here you go. So, I mean, for me, Days Gone seems to have a bit of an identity crisis. It seems like it wants to tell a good story.
I think Days Gone is going to come under a lot of the same criticism that Horizon Zero Dawn came under. That it is like a by the numbers kind of like open world game, but Horizon had interesting characters, interesting premise, interesting world, interesting animal, robo dinos to be able to destroy. So it makes me. It does make me a little bit kind of not edgy. But it kind of it skirts like I would imagine it does exactly. But I would imagine that like Crackdown 3 got reviews around the 7.5.
I think it was like 6s.
Maybe ranging from 6 up to like 8, perhaps. And I think maybe Days Gone is going to come out and range from about 7 to maybe 8.5, perhaps, from the more PlayStation-centric kind of places. People will dig it, but again, it's a very like by the numbers, or at least from the previews that people have said, and
by the numbers,
but a very by the numbers game. But this is going on kind of like saying that it's going on what people have previewed the game at. People previewed Metro Exodus as not they didn't. Fantastic.
I think that was due to the performance issues.
And final product came out and people were like, this is brilliant. It's got none of the issues that we kind of that we encountered during our preview. It is built on those very well. It's kind of improved a lot of the stuff that we were talking about. So massively happy to see that from Metro Exodus.
They're only like a small studio in Malta, and they've already had issues and like they're from Czech Republic.
They moved their studio,
Croatia.
Didn't they?
Yeah, because
they moved everyone over to Malta. So
I was worried about them. Yes,
completely. So it'd be interesting to see kind of like what Bend can do with Days Gone. Whether they are just like, we're happy with like a, with a Horizon Zero Dawn kind of like clone, with this very different kind of skin on it. And yeah, maybe we've made the bike and traversing around the world a little bit more central than Horizon had, but we've taken away maybe slightly from somewhere else and done something. You know, they've done their own kind of thing, but it's just gonna you know, come down to being like, yeah, this is good, it's competent, it's fun, but that's all it's doing. It's not groundbreaking, it's not doing anything different.
Yeah, it's like Crackdown knows exactly what it is. It's just Crackdown 1.5. Whereas I don't know about Days Gone. It's like, if it has a good story, I just don't see that happening. Some weird old biker dude complaining about his wife being dead. I just don't see that. And especially, it's sad. It's like, games are not made in a vacuum.
Mate, I come from Weymouth. I know lots of old biker dudes with dead wives. It's gonna hit me.
Well, good. You'll be the one positive review. But yeah, it's like, games are not made in a vacuum. Crackdown 3, obviously, it's like things have changed and people's expectations of first-party games, just from the Sony point of view, and Nintendo's been given it as well. It's like, we expect Crackdown 3 to be amazing. It's like, it's never going to be, but okay. But it's like, people are always going to hold that, you know, kind of
candle.
That candle too. It's like,
buddy.
And that's the interesting about Days Gone. It's like, I mean, for me, it would probably just be like, yeah, this was interesting. Like it's got like Horizon Zero Dawn mechanics, and it's got like some zombie ass universe. Like, Last of Us, 2 favorite games. It's like, but it's gonna be held to those standards, which is fair and unfair at the same time.
Yeah, completely. But it's one of those that you think, well, actually, Days Gone looks like a very good mix between Horizon and The Last of Us, but The Last of Us was good.
It's a mix.
The Last of Us was good because of this, and Horizon was good because of this, and Days Gone is only doing those elements very kind of mid-tier or mediocre.
Yeah.
So actually, how successful is it in putting that across? I mean,
maybe it'll be the best biking game since Full Throttle.
I How well did Road Redemption do? I don't remember. I haven't got a clue. Who cares, really, at this point?
Yeah.
So, beers that we have drunk. That's it for games. I'm done.
You done?
They're all awful. Get rid of them.
Games are for babies. Beers, they're for adults, because legally they have to be.
Meow.
So, Aadil.
Sorry, the cat's been yelling. So when I went to the bathroom, if you were on the video, you saw that I left. I overheard my flatmate, who has bonded quite well with Dorian, be like, "All right, go see your daddy." Like, the cat. And I was like,
I must be rid of you now. Yes.
Yeah. Now the fact that he's sort of, I'm not paying enough attention. He's sort of walking outside. I'm like, nope, come back. I drank the Granny, which was really interesting, and now we also learned what slow is. And the Island Hopper, and I seen Brewing's Island Hopper. They're both really good beers. I really liked the Dig and Padstow's Granny, the way, like, there was a pause before the super tart came in, then it left, and that blueberry was really well balanced to give it a very different note that lasted in the finish. So it was clearly a sour, but it wasn't like, because the problem with like a well balanced, like a sour and a long finish is that kind of just gives you this notion of, oh, I got to replace it and replenish because I have this tart aftertaste. And that was an excellent beer for swapping the aftertaste in a way that was really functional, but also meant that I wasn't like trying to deal with a sour finish. But the way the Citra and the Vic Secret sort of traded off, or like the Citra was balanced off to be more like somewhere between a tangerine and a mandarin. Like slightly sweet citrus on the Island Hopper was just really fantastic. It was a super drinkable beer. I was reaching for it quite often because I wanted to have the entire taste curve again, even while the finish was still lingering. It was like, oh, but I kind of want to feel that ride again. And I think, they're both fantastic beers, but I think it's the Island Hopper just because I was more enthused with sort of I was reaching for it because of each moment of the taste, in a way that the Granny I didn't feel the need to reach for, but I also didn't feel like the need to reach for.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. I know what you mean. I'm going to jump to me because as I was thinking about kind of like which beer I preferred, I realised that I'd pretty much forgotten the Signature Brew.
Oh no!
What was it giving me?
Tinny.
Yeah, I was gonna say
yes, tinny. Yeah, slightly tinny, a little bit metallic. Some little bits of maybe mango and stone fruits. Now, you said tinny and unlocked very slightly, but the left-handed giant and the burnt mill beer just kind of dominated a little bit with those very light roasted coffee notes, that muddiness to it, and that slight oaty texture and flavour that I was getting from that. It's just really easy high alcohol beer, which just goes down an absolute treat. I instantly keep pouring this beer. If this beer was twice the size, I would still be pouring it and I would still be enjoying it. If I had another can here, I would instantly crack it. It is something that I could just go on all night. Maybe unlike the West Coast double IPA from Signature, which was fine. It was doing some things. It was a bit odd in terms of its flavour profile and kind of like the mix that it was trying to get and what it was doing. Very easily the left-handed giant and burnt mill after the Storm American oatmeal stout just stands out this week very easily.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bit easy for you if you don't remember your first beer.
I do feel, Lucy, like maybe you don't. It's not that you don't remember your first beer, but that maybe it's a similar situation in that the second beer kind of outshone the first one a little bit.
Yeah. I'd only say that that's purely because of the style that I prefer. Like, I drank the first beer very quickly because it was very tasting. It was slightly sweet, very easy to drink. It still had that like slight coffee flavour, the Cosmonaut from Gipsy Hill. So it was nice. It was just that I prefer like a more like filling, creamy, dense, kind of style with like, this is a porter, that was a stout. So this has a lot less going on. It is just very hazelnut and sweet. It's quite heavy for 6.7%. That's why it's taken me so long. It's like this will take me probably another half an hour to drink and probably a third left of the glass. But I just like those flavours a bit more and the texture and the heaviness, and that's purely because of me. I mean, it's only because I have to pick a favourite. It's like they're both very good beers. I'd say in terms of like balance, I'd say that the Gipsy Hill probably takes it. It's just that for me personally, I like a dark beer that tastes like a dark beer, and it's like it lasts me the whole evening because it's heavy and full. It's the Haze or Haze-Le-Nut from just Northern Monk, part of their Patrons project.
It's nice that you've had two beers which kind of give you a not even a similar kind of style, but two beers which are quite different.
Yeah,
that kind of that roll around a same kind of profile.
The same species of beer.
Yeah,
but in very different ways.
Yeah, but like honestly, like if the Gipsy Hill one is your style, then it's a very good light beer that you still get in some of the like stout like flavour profile from. So yeah, it's a very good beer.
Excellent. That's good. That's good.
Solid.
So we've had some good beers this week for each of us. Aadil, if people want to talk to you about beer or video games, how do they do that?
I'm at the Almanac on all of the things, including Instagram, Twitter, etc. I'm also back on the PlayStation Plus, so you can add me on that, and I might actually use my PlayStation.
Play some Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
And I'll play Black Ops 2 on my own with my 360.
Yeah, that's about it. Oh, also, I will, now that we've been reinstated, you can find me on Instagram at the Omniarch or our communal Instagram, Tanked Upcast.
Nice. Lucy, how do people talk to you if they want to?
I might have posted on my Instagram, which is Be Irresistible, or I might have just had a fever dream, I don't know.
Or both.
I honestly can't remember, it might have been both. But for everywhere else, I'm Juicy Loose 9 on Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, and Untapped, and Twitter. And next week, I shall be talking about a point-and-click adventure called Trubaruk. Trubaruk. It's like a.
I suspect I will have played a video game by next week.
And
what Aadil should pick up by next week. Baba Is You.
Oh yeah, it just came out today.
It did.
Yeah. I've
had it for a while and I got stuck.
Oh really?
Yes.
Okay, well then I will definitely pick it up and
I was waiting for walkthroughs to come out. I felt bad going back to the developer, like, how do I do this when he's like marketing his game?
Yeah.
It's like, you idiot, just do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Nice, that's good. If you want to talk to me vicariously and give Lucy tips on how to play Baba Is You via me, you can do so through @Nova_47 on Twitter, on PlayStation, on Steam. You can get us all at tankedup_cast on Twitter or tankedupcast@gmail.com through the emails. If you want to send us something slightly more long form, we are tankedupcast on Untapped as well. I'm very behind on beers on all of these things. They may start appearing in the next few days. Who knows?
We're bad
I
at
certainly
social
don't,
media.
depending on how busy work is.
We're bad at
That's why I haven't done it, because work's just been too busy.
Yeah.
We're all over the age of 22. We don't know how to work these things.
Exactly. Fuck social
Bear
media
with
and
us.
all the fucking people.
Yeah,
that
it's
use it.
depressing. Go
Makes us
outside.
Yeah, that's it. If you want to talk to us, go and enjoy
Meet
a
us
beer somewhere.
Yeah, meet us outside.
Meet us in a
In a
garden.
non-threatening way.
Yeah.
Or a tap room.
Yeah.
Somewhere lovely. You can see our faces on the YouTubes, Out of Lives.
Yeah.
Do that as well. And go to outoflives.net to read articles and see other listen to podcasts, not see them, fuck's sake. Do stuff over at outoflives.net with other people's things.
This next act is back after our hiatus. We had the all-female hosted and acted International Women's Day, Women's Week episode to inaugurate our return to the airwaves. So if you like comedy and want to experience new, fresh comedy by new, fresh faces and people working on new material, this is how you get to see comedy that is more raw than Netflix.
Hey,
Yes.
nice.
You mean I can't watch the Ellen stand-up on Netflix and that's going to be funny?
I mean, it could be.
It's definitely not from the previews I saw.
It might be humorous.
It might be polished.
Hey
super
guys,
polished.
how about them rulers? Rulers are straight. I'm not. I don't know. I don't know what their jokes are.
Wow. I really hope that really does.
I just went down the rulers thing and
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's good.
maybe
No,
I
like
should
it.
start stand-up
Yeah,
comedy.
you really should. Hey, I know a good comedy night where it's a really friendly atmosphere for people who are just starting out.
Do it, Lucy.
And if you're in Bristol, 8 p.m. at the Kingsdown Wine Vaults every Sunday except for this Sunday because it's St. Paddy's Day, and so they'll make more money doing other things.
Nice. So, on that ripping endorsement for another week, we have been tanked up. Goodbye.
Bye.
Cheers.
Switching it up.
Fuck you. I like how Lucy's like, well, that's not normal. All right, and Ben's like, I don't like this change.